Hi everyone, welcome back to Pine Hollow Auto Diagnostics. We have a Ford F150 here, EcoBoost. I don't remember what year. 715, so 15 or 16. Customer complaint is it has a huge parasitic draw when it's wet outside. Crazy customer complaint. He said that overnight he disconnected the battery, he dropped it off last night. He's like, it's going to be dead in the morning, let's disconnect the battery. I'm like, okay, whatever you want to do. So let's connect the battery up. And start this thing up. Read it for code, scan it for codes. What are your gut feelings? I'm thinking it's going to be a module of some sort that's getting wet, maybe towards the back, some kind of trailer module or blind spot detection system or something fancy. But let's we're gonna start it up, warm it up. We'll do a full health report, see where this goes. Alright, here's the full health report. 2015 Ford F150, 71,000 miles. BCM has control module power circuits open since the battery is disconnected, not surprising. PCM is generator control circuit. I don't know if that was due to the disconnected battery as well. Data received from ECM is invalid. Battery voltage. Okay, so let's clear all these out. We can rescan it for codes. See any hard faults. We see the battery voltage is at 15 volts, so it's definitely charging. And then we'll do a parasitic draw test. See what the heck is going on. The owner said they used an amp clamp to do a preliminary whatever check, and he said it would cycle to over an amp. That's pretty substantial. So we have to figure out what the heck is drawing this current, but why is it only happening when it's wet outside? Very strange scenario. Alright, so absolutely no codes here on the second scan, so I'm going to disconnect the scanner. We're done with that. And let's pull it up to towards the garage there and hook up an in-series ammeter. Damn, I think my meter blew the fuse because it was 10 amps when the lights are still on, and now we're at 0. Unfortunate. So let's reconnect that, replace my fuse, and let the truck go to sleep here for a while, and then reconnect the meter. Alright, got the meter hooked up. 2.2 amps. And we'll set the timer, check back in 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, go from there. Alright, after half an hour, we got 12 milliamps, which is perfect. So, I don't know, we could try running the truck again, clear the codes again, take it for a test drive, do another draw measurement. Right now, there are no problems. Well, less than half an hour, went to sleep like a baby, 12 milliamps. Now this aftermarket brake controller is asleep. That's the only aftermarket thing installed in this truck, I think. So, I don't know, customer complaint, can't reproduce it. Alright, next morning on the Ford F-150 with the intermittent parasitic battery drain. Let's see if it starts. Sat here overnight. Everything's plugged in. Well, that's lit up. I guess that's a good sign. Let's fire this beast up. Scan it for codes, see if anything. Normal crank. Nothing crazy. No warning lights, no check engine lights. Let's log in here, do another system scan, and then if we have no leads, have to talk to the customer, and again, how do we reproduce this fault? We have to do some digging online, go on, you know, is this a common issue with these F-150s? So we have a completely green tree. Just want to go into the PCM, check the charging system, the alternator output, see if there's anything weird going on. Alright, so I got some data PIDs pulled up for the charging system. It is computer controlled, as in the engine control module controls the alternator. So we got 15 volts in the battery, generator command line fault, no error. It's 76% commanded. If I raise the RPMs, okay. Generator current sensor, 20 amps, that's as much as the vehicle is using. The battery seems to be fully charged. Let's see if we turn the lights on, for example. That should go up, so you went up to 31. Lights off, 21. No error. Monitor frequency. The generator monitor. That's basically how hard the generator is working, as in the field, whatever, field winding duty cycle. So at high RPMs, it has to send less current for the alternator to put out the same amperage. Okay, let go. At idle, 20 to 30%. It's going up and down. Okay, so take a screenshot of that. No faults at the moment. Let's do some research. So I called the customer up and talked to him about the history of the truck. So there's some very interesting things that he told me. So here are the notes that I took. Let's see. So he said this problem occurs when it's wet outside. When you park the truck, sometimes it kills the battery overnight. He was surprised that it did not do it for me yesterday because it was raining. So the history, 1 year ago, the battery died at some point overnight. So, you know, the battery was kind of old, so he replaced it. And it was fine for a few months. 2 months, no issues. 4 to 5 months ago, he said he was just driving on the highway, and a service charge system warning came up on the dash. And shortly thereafter, it seems like there's a correlation between this warning and the battery going dead overnight. He said he didn't take exact notes, but you see, this problem with the battery drain seems to have started when he started seeing the warning. So then he said he had some throttle body stuck open codes, and he installed a Napa aftermarket throttle body that lasted a few months. Then he had to get another one. So I told him, I'm not sure about your throttle body, but use OEM only. So don't use aftermarket electrical parts, especially something as critical as a throttle body. So I'm not sure if that's related, but he sent me a scan that he did about a month ago. So late September, he sent me this scan. Throttle actuator A system stuck open. Let's see here. Control module, whatever, Powertrain control module, 3 codes, P0620 generator control circuit, 65B control circuit range performance, and the 2111 throttle actuator A control system stuck open. Well, guess what? On the initial scan, when I first saw this truck, these are the codes that I pulled out of the truck. We have the exact same 3 codes. So this generator control circuit seems to be a common issue. That would definitely explain his service charge system warning that occurs extremely intermittently. So we can look up this code. Here we go. P0620 generator control circuit, go to pinpoint test F. So I have that pulled up right here. And you can read through it. The PCM monitors generator output via the generator monitor GenMon circuit. That's what we were just looking at on the scanner. PCM uses the generator command, Gen C command circuit, to command the generator either increase or decrease the output. If the Gen command circuit, generator control circuit, or the A sense circuit are open or shorted to ground, the PCM will not be able to control the generator output. When the engine speed is greater than 2000, the generator defaults to a steady voltage of 13.5 volts. PCM sends a request to the IPC to eliminate the charging system warning indicator. A Gen command circuit fault can be confirmed by viewing the PCM PID generator command line fault, yes, status indicator fault. Okay, so this Gen command circuit or the A sense circuit, generator control circuit, PCM sets the DTC if the Gen command circuit, A sense circuit, or B plus circuit is open or short to ground. So 3 circuits. Let's look at the wiring diagram of this alternator. So this is page 1 of the OE diagram. Let's see, current sensor. Now the alternator is on page 2. So we have the fat red wire, it's grounded, and then 3 wires at this control connector. So 2 of them go to the PCM, Gen RC and the Gen LI. Now that it would have been convenient if they labeled them Gen Mon and Gen Command. And then this 3rd wire goes back to page 1, right here, battery junction box F38 10 amp. That should be hot at all times. It's tied directly to the battery. So this control wire on pin 3, brown and red, should be hot at all times. And then these 2 go to the PCM. Okay, very interesting. Back to the description. Verify that fuse 38 is good, okay. And then it goes through checking, the actual alternator ground. B plus circuit, that's the big positive lead. A sense circuit load test. So they tell you exactly which pin to measure. So apparently that's the sense circuit. That's the positive hot at all times pin 3. Okay. Then, okay, recorded battery voltage, yes. Check the generator command circuit for short to voltage. Now that would be pin 2. So on our wiring diagram, this is the generator command, blue and orange wire. This is hot at all times. This, I assume it's some duty cycle, and so is this one. That's the feedback. Check the generator command circuit for a short to ground. Perform a wiggle check. They use an ohm meter, which is not very helpful. Is the resistance greater than 10,000 ohms? If no, repair the circuit. Okay. So it has to do with these 3 control wires. And finally, let's see here. C1381B13, is that? Yes. Okay. 13. So now they're checking at the PCM. Okay, so we're dealing with these circuits. Now, since this issue is so intermittent, this is exactly the case where possibly other people have had this issue, other technicians, other people online. This is where the power of the internet comes into play. Let's see what we can find. So on Google, I typed in, Ford F150 P0620, right? Okay, there's a video here. We'll give credit to Philip Bailey, 2016 Ford F150 EcoBoost engine. So he said his test revealed no power to pin 3 at the alternator connector. Interesting. And I fast forwarded here, and apparently this wiring harness that goes under the AC compressor, under the crank pulley, it's a bad spot. There's the green crust he's got to it, so it's like a bend in the harness. These 3 control wires follow the big red wire, and right on the frame rail where, hey, you know, it could be wet here, it's all rusty, lives kind of low by the front wheel, that could possibly be our exact problem. Another video, charging system problem on a 2019, the same exact codes, same exact location of the wiring harness.
The alternator wiring runs below the crankshaft pulley across the front of the engine in a harness, and here where it goes from the engine back to the body harness, you can see this blue wire with an orange tracer and the green corrosion on it, and that is our gen command wire.
So in this case, the gen command wire is compromised. Same codes. Okay, so credit to Shop Talk for posting this video. This one actually goes through the theory, you know, the wiring diagrams, what all the wires do. It's a lot of information at your fingertips. So considering this problem is intermittent, you know, where would you start? We can unplug the alternator, measure for voltage on pin 3, make sure it lights a test light. After that, we're going right for this spot and doing a visual inspection, doing a tug test. Hopefully we'll find something interesting and fix this truck, even though it's not acting up at the moment. So I know sometimes people ask in the comments, Ivan, why don't you just build a bigger shop? Well, the zoning here is for agricultural purposes, so I can't just build an automotive shop. I guess I could build a barn to service tractors, but the zoning officials are, let's just say, not very reasonable, so that's why. Let's take a look at this alternator on the F-150. So alternator's over here, and that harness runs under the crank pulley, and I think I see something kind of suspicious. Let's zoom in, see where those cooler lines and a bracket is? Right there. What wire is that? I see green crusties and it's rubbing on the metal bracket. Holy crap. How's this truck running perfectly, not setting any codes at the moment? So when there's, I bet when a little moisture gets on there, it starts pulling that circuit down and creating all these faults. Now how does that explain the battery drain? So let's say, you know, the alternator has power all the time on both the sense wire and the big, you know, the fat main wire. If that I'm wondering, I want to measure the voltage at the GenMon circuit with the truck off and see if we pull it down, do we get a massive parasitic drain? Does the alternator engage the winding because it thinks the computer is commanding the, you know, the field circuit on, even though the alternator is not spinning? I think that's a possibility. So I want to prove that that short can cause a battery drain, and then we'll be 100% sure we're going to fix this truck, you know, reliably long term. Alright, under the truck, so this spot where the wire harness runs over the metal bracket is right here. Alright, there's the blue, there's the whatever, purple and orange. So 3 little wires, 1 fat wire. You kind of see it here. So in this case, we're going to have to blame Ford for really sloppy wiring. Look, these little skinny wires, hot at all times, are running exposed over metal brackets. Terrible, just terrible. I'm wondering if this was at some point, you can see there's a mounting hole right here, and it's missing a fastener. So was someone here before? I don't know. It goes here, here, here. That goes to the starter. And then these wires go up towards the battery. So it's kind of hard to get in here. I can kind of stick my head up. You can see Yep, there's the harness going right over the metal bracket and then up into the conduit there. So let's do a careful visual inspection, see if we can pull some wires apart. Yep, so the generator command wire right at that rub spot snapped clean in half, the green Krusty's classic. Now I want to see, with the truck off, from the alternator side, do we have voltage on this generator command wire? Is it waiting to be pulled down to ground by the PCM? So I have my voltmeter lead connected to that, battery and to battery ground. 12.2 volts. We have battery voltage on there. Now what I want to do is set up my ammeter, and then we're going to ground that lead. We could do it through a test light, simulate the green Krusties to ground, and see if we have a big parasitic drain. I'm hoping we do, and that'll explain all the customer complaints at once. Alright, here we go for the final experiment. So the truck is almost asleep, 98 milliamps. It'll drop down to whatever, 15 soon. Now I have the test light connected to battery ground on this side. So if we send current through the test light, it will also get picked up by the meter, and then if the alternator decides to do something funky, that will also get picked up by the meters. This is the total current consumption of the truck. So if this touches right here, so let's reconnect this to this. Okay, so we have our 12.2 volts on the gen command wire coming from the alternator. Let's see what happens when I pull this down with a test light. 120 milliamps. Okay, so we're pulled down. I let go. 98. So 30 milliamps. Would that cause the alternator to start doing something funky? Now also, the other wire that was compromised was the gen mon wire. We'll dive under the truck here and take a closer look at it. The purple one, that was also rubbing on the frame. Let's see here. So that's the command wire, and there's two more, the constant hot and the purple. And you can see the purple one has a rub spot right here. You can see copper, so it's been rubbing on this bracket. We can put a probe on here and see if that's hot all the time. Try to pull that down to ground as well. Just try to recreate this parasitic draw. Ooh, I just tried the test light test again. Check it out. 99 milliamps. Pull this down. 5.7 amps. There it is. We're down to 1 volt here. Test light is not lighting. Confirmed. If that command wire is just shorted to ground with the truck off, completely off, we get a 5 amp parasitic drain. That was killing the customer's battery overnight when he parked the truck after driving in the rain. Crazy, crazy stuff. So we're going to fix that wire up. It's kind of a tight spot, but solder, heat shrink, wrap the entire harness, secure it away from the metal brackets. This truck's going to be fixed. This is pretty exciting. It's a cool case study. And thank goodness people share this information online. It would have taken, visual inspection, it was right there on the metal bracket. Yeah, probably would have found it eventually, but it's nice to go in kind of knowing what you're looking for. And it explains all the symptoms. Yes, it happens more when it's wet, green Krusties, current, flows through whatever, water. It was rubbing on the metal, just awesome. Well, the soldering job was a little uncomfortable, but one wire, the command wire, soldered and shrink wrapped right there. And I'm going to wrap everything in electrical tape, and then that bracket was missing a nut. So I repositioned the bracket onto that stud, and the cooler lines are now not rubbing on this lower harness anymore. that also goes onto the stud, so I just need to get a nut on there, tighten that down, and this truck should be good to go. Alright, final shot of the repair. You can see I installed a nut on that holder that sandwiches the harness holder and the cooler line bracket. So that's how it's supposed to look like. I don't know what happened to that nut, if someone's been here before, or if it just jiggled loose or what, but that's torqued down now. All the little wires are individually wrapped, and then the whole harness is wrapped, so I made sure the red wires aren't pinching the little wires between them. I think this should be a long-lasting repair. Let's scan it, clear it out, take it for a spin, and make sure the parasitic draw is the same, 12 milliamps like it was before. So final code scan is all green, so we didn't set any codes by messing with that generator command wire. Let's see if those data pins are any different. Remember before I think one of them was kind of jumping around quite a bit. Let's see if they're all steady now. Well, everything looks about the same as it did before. So I'm really surprised that green pus sac on the command wire was still continuous for that low command voltage. Pretty crazy. I pulled on it, it just vaporized. And that's what was shorting to ground. Pretty insane. So that's it. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Bonus footage, final verification of repair. We're down to 12 milliamps after less than half an hour. Amazing. This truck's ready to go.